Welcome back, Geordies. It's Adam from Two for Joy with my instant match reaction to Newcastle's defence of the Carabao Cup turning into devastation. I'll be quite honest, the lineup that we put out, we're going to the Etihad, having not scored there under Eddie Howe and playing five at the back was an absolute fucking travesty. I do not understand this. And then, to make matters worse, having Dan Burn as a marauding centre-back being sent forward at every opportunity to head the ball on for Anthony Gordon and Joe Willock, who were ghosts tonight. Absolute fucking ghosts. I mean, Anthony Gordon, I'll make the point, he misses a sitter, an absolute sitter, through one-on-one with James Trafford and then pulls up with a hamstring. He is an absolute shithouse. He did not want to be in this game. He did not want to be on the side of the losing team. And once again, we see Anthony Gordon as a no-show, an absolute ghost in this game, as we've seen all too many times this season. The only time he actually wanted to turn up was against his boyhood club, and that's because I honestly believe, I've been saying it since the start of the summer, he wants a move. Get him out. Get him out of this club. Honestly, he is fucking useless. And then I feel like Johan Wissa was no better, but Nick Voltemade is going to be the one that takes the stick for this. And I thought Nick Voltemade wasn't actually that bad. With no supply, completely isolated, with the wrong wingers. I don't know how we go to the Etihad and start Joe Willock and Anthony Gordon as our wingers up front. Both out of form, both lacking, or Willock lacking really any game time. He's only come in for the last 3 games. And Anthony Gordon, he scored, one goal in a year. Realistically, this is like the worst fucking lineup I've seen from Eddie Howe. Really disappointed. And, you know, I'll give Eddie Howe his credit when he's good, but you have to take the criticism when you're bad. And tonight, it was fucking awful. And to be quite honest, I'm sure people will say Newcastle were better second half. And I'll give credit Anthony Elanga and Harvey Barnes when they came on. Looked much better, more desire, more passion. Anthony Elanga taking players on, making them work. I thought Lewis Hall played well. But this defence, it's not even the defence. The problems with this squad is its age. You're playing a 34-year-old Kieran Trippier and a 33-year-old Dan Burn against Omar Mamouche, Semenyo, you know, in the latter stages, Haaland, Shirky. There's an abundance of young talent at Man City with legs. I mean, Reinders just carved our midfield open over and over and over again. And I really felt for Malik Chow, who seemed to be getting the brunt of the stick at the back. He was left constantly covering 2 players. And like I say, the first goal, sure enough, you might call it unlucky. Dan Burn makes a lunge. He's way out of position. He makes a lunge for the tackle. It comes off Marmouche, who loves to score against Newcastle, and goes straight over the top of Aaron Ramsdale. But when you see Anton Semenyo out on the right-hand side and Dan Burn way out of position, Malik Chow trying to cover 2 players, and just our defence at 6s and 7s, it was a clown show tonight. An absolute disaster. And I wouldn't mind us losing and going out of the cup if we put in a worthwhile display, or even gave the fans something to sing about. And I tell you what, the only positive to take away from this game was Newcastle's away fans. The Geordies sung their fucking hearts out in support of that team. The Etihad was like a fucking library until the Geordies started singing. And I'll be honest, up to 80 minutes singing their fucking hearts out. Absolute stars tonight, as always. But I don't really know where we're going to go from here. I can I'm not sure if you've seen it. If you haven't, go and have a look. There's an interview with David Hopkinson, Newcastle CEO, on TalkSport with Jim White, Alex Crook and Gabby Abondlahor. And I thought the interview was really interesting. And David Hopkinson speaks really well. Now, it might be all talk, but genuinely, the way he speaks is they do have a plan. They do have ambition. They have everything set up. And he will be looking to increase Newcastle's revenues in the next few years to staggering numbers. Now, I hope that happens. But what I found very interesting was the insinuation from Jim White that Thomas Tuchel's contract with England runs out after this international competition, and that if the FA are still interested in going for an English manager and keeping it as an English manager, that Eddie Howe would be the one they want. And it would not surprise me if there is a end of this season, if those murmurings start again, especially if we're not in a position to be in European football, because I think we will struggle to attract the players required to put us back into European football if we spend as badly and highlight targets in the way that we did throughout, say, last January and this summer window. I mean, we made it public knowledge to everybody who we were going for, and it allowed so many teams to come in and start a bidding war or just outbid us. And what I will say is, part of this, I said it before in one of my other videos, part of this January transfer window and us not seeing the spend that David Hopkinson and Ross Wilson highlighted was available, 40 to 45, 50 million to be spent in this window to bolster the squad to see us through the Champions League and compete on all four fronts. And we spent nothing, suggests that either Eddie Howe is not happy with the targets being suggested, or that Newcastle are holding the money back to see whether Eddie Howe still has the drive to push this team on, or whether we are coming to a plateau and they need to look to bring somebody else in to take us to the next step of this journey. And I'll always be grateful to Eddie Howe for what he's done, but every manager will reach their point. They will have an expiry date. They will hit a plateau, and it is time to change up and move on. And I'm not quite there yet, but displays like tonight certainly put question marks over whether this setup has the ambition to put us in the right place by the end of the season. There aren't that many games left, and I'd probably say we need to be looking at picking up 15 to 20 points by the end of the season to put us in contention for some form of European football. And I honestly, looking at the fixtures we've got coming up, feel like we will be on a downward trajectory before we have a steady run of games that are possibly winnable. But let me know in the comments. Make sure you get involved, like and subscribe. And last of all, if you think Jamie Carragher is the worst fucking pundit on Sky Sports, give this video a like. I think the guy is an absolute bellend. I am so fed up of watching every Newcastle game with Jamie Carragher or Gary fucking Neville on commentary. Please give this video a like if you think Jamie Carragher is the worst pundit on Sky Sports.